Hey, welcome to the BOP, the Blurred Official Podcast. Oh my goodness. What a morning we've had. We have been trying to record for hours. And of course, as fate would have it, I lost power in my house for more than half an hour. And of course it was right before we were going to start. So we kept having to postpone. And we lost Hilton. Hopefully he shows up. But as far as he knows, I have no power. And we were going to reschedule this recording. But thankfully, Dana is here. Dana has stepped up to be one of the co-hosts. And I'm so
no
glad
longer behind the scenes on this episode.
Right. Because otherwise it would be me and you just talking for an hour. And that would not be, I think it would be cool, but it might be kind of boring too. So, I'm glad you're here. Dana, how you doing? How is life? Welcome to the BOP.
Life? Well, of course, life is lifing. Hello, everyone who's meeting me for the first time. I think it's my second time coming to the forefront.
Right.
Usually
and you've
I'm
been
behind
here
the scenes.
most of the time. She's here usually all the time as a producer. But today I needed her.
Yes. So I was like, all right, Karen, I got you. I'm coming to the forefront. So, of course, I am here for today's episode. Looking forward for this conversation. Of course, like I said, life be lifing. We're getting ready to get in the heat of con season. We are at like 8
I'm
days
in the heat of
away from MomoCon.
Oh my gosh. I'm missing it this year. Like for the first time. I mean, it's not the first time that I've had to miss it, but I've got, other cons come up but I will say this, we will be there. Ranger Stop and Pop. We will be there. We'll be represented. Nakia will be in the house with Catherine Sutherland. They will be promoting. They're going to be giving away our free VIP bags. They're going to be giving away free tickets. They're going to be having contests and having so much fun. They've got all kinds of cool stuff planned. And I'm actually at another con. I'm going to be in London at MCM London, which I know, poor me. I have to miss MomoCon to go to London.
Yes, that was kind of on my wish list. Let me get my
tiny violin and play the sad song. Well, just know I'll be having a grand old time in London. Yes. I love that show. I love MCM. I'm excited to be there. Mikey will actually be at Collecticon in Orlando, and he'll be promoting Ranger Stop and Pop, and he'll be having fun doing contests, giving away bags.
Divided.
I know. We are so divided this year. Like there have been times that I've been there and me and Mikey or me and Nakia or, usually there was one year I think that we were all there together. We actually all got to be in the same space. But this year it just didn't time out and just didn't work out. But Dana will be there. Dana, you run the press room. And so if any of you guys ever been in there, she always has some amazing press outlets that are lined up, ready to go. And, she has it so organized. You just go through all the press. And this is the crazy part. Like for how many years? The last 2 years I've been trying to get up there, but because it's so
you can never get away.
I can never get away from my table.
Interview you.
And I'm like a no-show. and it's not like my fault. If you've ever been to MomoCon, it is 100,000 plus people and it is packed, and the con is like a football field away from the press room. And so it's usually
last year it was. This year we're back in the same thing. Unfortunately, Disney pushed us into 2 different halls of the convention center, which made it a trek last year.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Like I remember we just kept going like, what the F? How far is this place? Like we were literally staying at the Omni, which we're like, oh, we're right there. We're just going to walk over. And 30 minutes later, and you're like
that was
sweaty
year.
And gross.
Yes.
Yeah.
For some reason, they pushed our vendor hall and celebrities Walk of Fame and everything to C Hall, which is on the opposite side of the convention center.
It's at the very end. So it was very end.
Trek for our guests and everybody. So luckily, and we've never been in 2 different halls.
Right.
We've had Hall B since 2021. Prior to that, we were Hall A. We outgrew A and moved to B in 2021. But because the Disney gaming convention, they end up double booking us somehow, and we got pushed into Hall C.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're back in all Hall B, so we don't have that.
Back in business. No 1,000 steps for you in the first hour of the show, which we all appreciate. But I'm so glad you're here, Dana, because it's been crazy. It's been all kinds of crazy stuff has been happening in the world. And
Yes.
this year, 2025, we have vowed that the BOP is going to be your destination to get away from all that crazy stuff.
Yes.
Like, we've even like kind of cooled on some of our political talk, because it's like, it's so bombarding us.
Yes.
Every time we turn on the news, there's something insane and inhumane happening. So we're not going to even talk about that. This is a place where we're going to decompress. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to be complete blurs and complete nerds. And we invite you to nerd out with us.
Exactly.
Nerd out with us.
Relax, relate, release.
Exactly. That is the motto for 2025. We're going to be doing our line dances, popping our fans. Yeah. We're going to be doing everything but worrying about this world. And, I keep telling people, like, people are like, my nieces and nephews, I've gotten them politically activated, like, from the election, and I just got them. I was like, they're in their 30s, and I was like, you guys need to know what's going on in this world. And so they're completely activated. But now that I'm deactivated, they are like, oh my god, did you see what happened today? And I'm like, yes, but guess what? 2025, I am resting from all of that. Black women especially, we are resting from all of that, and we are living our best lives. So one series, if we're talking about Black women, if we're talking about the culture, if we're talking about all the things that we love, one series that has been highly anticipated by all of us blurs, is Iron Heart. Oh my gosh, we got to meet Riri Williams in Wakanda Forever, or what I like to say, Black Panther Forever. That's my new title. But we got to meet her in Wakanda Forever, and I mean, I fell in love. I fell in love with her. What a way to make a character's introduction into the Marvel Universe. But now, we know that there's a new series that's coming out on Disney Plus on June 24th, to be exact. And there's been some outrage from us, from the community, from the culture, because I mean, we're like a month away and we have not gotten a trailer. And as you know, when Marvel is putting out, I saw 1,000 and trillion trailers for Thunderbolts, and I saw 1,000 trailers for, Spider-Man, and for all the other Disney Plus series and everything else. We've seen a ton. And for whatever reason, marketing and promotion has been extremely delayed on this series. So much so that blurs are pissed. Like, we are literally, like, people have been posting. I've been one of them, where I am posting at least one Ironheart thing a week on my social media, just to remind people that it's coming. Because the reality is that we should have been hearing about this. We should have been having the conversation that it's coming, and we hadn't. So I mean, what do you think? Because this is the thing we always say, like, this is the conversation when it comes to Black shows. I mean, this is like, we've got this show, we've got a lead that was super popular in the Wakanda Forever movie. Ryan Coogler is the executive producer. He is so hot right now with Sinners. And why aren't we seeing a trailer? Yeah. Why haven't we started getting, and I mean, I think there's been word that there's going to be one soon, but it's been very upsetting.
It's a month out.
Yeah. And actually today they posted that the trailer comes tomorrow. They did like a little, like all the executive producers, the directors, and just talking about her. But I really think it's because the community has been very vocal and very loud. What do you think about that?
And the thing is, this is a repetitive issue within the entertainment industry. We saw this with any time it's a person of color, but especially a woman of color that is a lead. We saw the same situation with Batgirl. It was completed, and they put it in the vault. They could have released.
They shelved it,
film.
right?
We got that Flash movie over, but they gonna tell me Flash movie was better than Batgirl?
Right.
I don't think so.
Right.
We saw that with Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
The publicity we saw was from the actors themselves and not from the studios. We
Mm-hmm.
even got that energy with Black Panther, the first movie, because they
Yeah.
honestly did not believe in it.
And the
And
culture was like roaring, like we were
yeah,
we showed up and showed out.
yeah,
So I think
hmm,
that's the thing, like we're mad and we're kind of like what the f, but
yeah,
we've got to show up and show out for Ironheart, because it's like the only way it's going to break through is
exactly.
if it's us. We need to do what we did for Black Panther, what we've done for Sinners, because even Sinners, they were kind of hating, and I was like, are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
yeah,
And now it's like probably the most critically acclaimed movie for 2025.
yeah.
And
It's
here
one of
we
those,
are.
until the money talks, they talk a lot of mess about it, because the biggest thing they like to do is, as soon as the numbers don't speak, because they try to do it with Sinners too, at opening weekend. Oh, it's not meeting, it's like it's only been 48 hours. It's not
Right.
going to, but
And
yet
now
now
it's
you're,
hit over 200 million in like 3 weeks.
yeah,
And you were talking about that the IMAX and how they're re-releasing it.
reason it, yes, for the 35 millimeter IMAX, because so many people were posting,
Yeah.
bring IMAX back, and they had announced it a couple weeks ago.
And it sold out that day. Like I was gonna, like I literally
It was
was like,
shutting down. Yes, it
yeah,
looks like IMAX locations are extending Center's show times for IMAX 70 millimeter film
yes.
starting May 15th.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good, because I'm going to jump on that, because literally the next day I was like, ooh, I've got it. Because I saw it in my local theater. This is like a theater I love. And it's beautiful, beautiful big screens, but it's like an older theater that has been restored. And
Yeah.
I love it because it's never like, it's packed, but it's not like you got the recliner seats. You got like their
Mm-hmm.
popcorn is banger.
Yeah.
All of it is right. But it's not so packed like if I went to Universal City and saw it. And that's kind of where you can see it here in LA, is you can see that 70 millimeter IMAX version. The way Ryan shot it, he shot it for that screen,
Yes.
and you can see it there. But I just didn't want to go, because it's like Universal City is so packed and it's so crazy, and parking is
Yeah.
$30, and then the tickets are $30 each. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just it's one of those things that I always would rather go to my local theater and just kind
Yeah.
of chill and be in my own little
Mm-hmm.
space, because I usually go no makeup, like I'm looking like a homeless person when I go.
Going
So,
incognito.
incognito as the original
You're doing
Karan
your Clark
Ashley.
Kent, putting the
Right.
glasses on, and nobody know what who you
Sometimes
are
I
until your
see
glasses
myself
come
and I
out.
go, I can't believe you walked out the house like this. I can't even
You
believe
tapped
it.
into your inner Walmart shopper.
Who are you? Right. Who are you? But me and my mom went to see it. But ever since I saw it and I was so blown away by the movie, I was like, if it comes back on IMAX, I'm going to go. And so when they announced that, I jumped online and they were sold out. And then I found
Yes.
out they sold out that day and broke the
And
internet,
it
everything.
killed the servers for AMC and Regal, that their servers went down because so many people were trying to buy
Yeah.
those tickets.
Yeah. And so that was like back to your point where they were trying to put it down. Like they always try to kill female led movies,
Yes.
black led movies,
Yes.
Asian led like they literally try to kill these movies before they even come out. And that
Yes.
is what they're doing to Ironheart.
Heart.
Like,
Yes.
other than not giving a trailer that has enough time to promote and spend that money, it's like literally you go online, they're trying to trash a movie or trying to
Yeah.
trash a series that hasn't even come out.
You haven't seen a trailer, not nothing. And the number of people have been, like you said, commenting, making these horrible remarks, talking about don't want it and everything. I was like, y'all also said that to Black Panther, but it's
Mm-hmm.
after it came out, your tone changed. So I'm
Yeah.
like, that this energy that you're showing, and we've seen that even with Shang-Chi, all these
Yeah.
other shows that were phenomenal movies or shows. But you trashed it before you even really saw a trailer, before you even watched the first episode. And then it's just like, as soon as gonna like the Miss Marvel,
Yes.
they
Oh my
tried that
gosh.
so bad. The series was phenomenal, but then as soon as people started catching on to it after the pandemic, all of a sudden you have people like, "Oh my gosh, it was so good."
Mm-hmm.
Like y'all were saying this last year when the movie when it first came out on Disney Plus, but now that you actually sat down and watched it because you were just like, oh, I don't want to see this, da da da, you found out all the layers to that story, and it was beautiful storytelling. It was beautifully uh, done, being a series that was done in the pandemic, but yet you did give it the chance. But as soon as it's the 75th version of Batman or Superman, same story, different cast, you're good.
Hey guys, oh my God. Dana was in the middle of giving the best, her thoughts on the conspiracy that is marketing and promotion for, TV shows and movies are led by, marginalized groups such as, blacks, Asians, women, all of those things. And I've told y'all, I think at the top of the show that we were having I was having problems today in my city. Like I keep losing power. Like I lost power this morning for like 15 minutes, didn't think anything of it. Then when it got time for us to do the show, lost power. It was out for like 40 minutes. It is currently out. Like when it stayed gone that long, we realized like one of our generators, because when they had the fires, like, months ago, like we kept losing power. And at that moment we were like, we need to buy generators. We need to have that. If nothing else, we can have lights, we can have a fan on, we need that. So we bought two because we're those people. So of course, today my husband was like, well, why don't we try the generators since, we have no power. And so when we tried that, one was 100%. The other one had nothing. Like there was no power. And we're like, what is the point of having two generators if we haven't charged the second one? So while the power came on and we started the show and we're going great, it stopped twice. It's currently has stopped twice in between us filming this one episode. It was like, it stopped at 16 minutes and now it stopped again at like 18 minutes. Like we are like working against the odds here. But luckily, when we were filming that last 16, 20 minutes or whatever we did at the top of the show, he plugged in that second generator. So now that it's gone out, he's the MacGyver of the family. Trust me when I tell you, he will think of things and do things to prepare us for the big one, for the big quake, for the big fire, for whatever's going to happen in California. I've made fun of him over the years, and now I'm very happy that I married MacGyver because he literally, we're running on generators. Like we plugged in the internet on one generator and we plugged in my equipment on the next generator. So if this is a lesson, I heard there was an earthquake in Atlanta a couple days ago.
It hit. It was in Tennessee, and it was so strong that it hit Atlanta that they felt it in Atlanta. So,
yes. So Dana, get a generator. They're not that expensive. When they go on sale, like literally they went on sale and I like sent the link to everybody I knew and was like, God. Get one of these, get one of these, get one of these. Yes. And everybody was like, oh my God, yes, you're right. So I have no air conditioning. So if you hear my fan humming, it's because it is warm in this house. It is 80 something degrees outside. So, when the air goes out and we're in a blackout, we're in an outage right now. Although I have my generator, I don't have my air conditioner. So I got my little fan blowing on me.
Hey, we got to do what we got to do.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of warm in here. It's getting hot in here. So I can't take my clothes off, but at least I can turn my fan up.
That is for the pay subscription.
Yes, that is for BOP Plus. BOP Plus. There's another level to the subscription.
You have to have a platinum diamond level subscription to get that content.
Yes, and I don't even know if I'm gonna give it to you then. I don't know y'all want me to take my clothes off, honey. I'm gonna keep it real.
You gotta see his shoulders.
I'm gonna give you a bra strap. That's about it. So I don't even know where we left off.
Well, but we were talking, of course, my spill about like I think where we left off is I was talking about like the lack of marketing that they give to these shows. Like you had Miss Marvel, which was a phenomenal series. people were dogging it before seeing it, and then a whole year to 2 years after the series completed, people finally watched it and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good!" And we're like looking at
Yeah.
them like,
Yeah. Where
but
were you?
yet when they announced the 75th version of Batman or Superman, that it's the same
Yes.
story, Clark, you know,
Yeah. Or
Batman
putting Star Wars
saving
back in the
people.
theaters.
Exactly. They packed the theaters. No change, no nothing.
Right.
But as soon as you mentioned, like when they had, um, Superman's cousin and everything up in arms, once a woman becomes part of the lead and it's
Right.
not a romantic interest, it's a problem.
Right.
And we have to change this narrative because a lot of these have been such phenomenal stories
Right.
and been filmed so great. I mean, I will take Batgirl once again over what we got for the Flash. For some reason,
Right.
y'all said that Flash we got was so much better than Batgirl. I have to contest that. Please
Right.
pull it out so I can give my feedback.
Right. Right. And I mean the thing is it wasn't a terrible movie, but I was like, we were so like disturbed that they did,
Disturbed, and that CGI
Batgirl.
was horrible.
Yeah, and that they did this movie, they completed this movie. It was a
And he
Latina
should have been in
lead.
jail instead of completing this
Yeah.
movie.
Right. And they're like
They
trying to
should not have
force
finished
him,
that movie.
yeah, force him down red carpets and force us to like this. And we watched it and it was just like, it was just one of those things. And what's bothering me now is that I think I mentioned this before the power went out. There is a whole campaign against Ironheart, and has to be, sexist motivated, racially motivated, because there's no reason no one can like this series when we haven't even gotten a trailer. We don't even know what this is going to be about. We don't even know where they're picking it up. The only thing I know is they're picking it up right after Wakanda Forever. She goes home and this is where she is. This is what's happening. And it's picking up from her life there. But there's no reason a series that is head up, right now, I got to turn my phone back on, that is led by Dominique Thorne, Anthony Ramos are the leads, and they're going to be part of the MCU moving forward. It is being executive produced by Ryan Coogler. It has got all the things that we need in a modern story, and they're really explaining it. Like they did do a little teaser today where Ryan Coogler and some of the producers are, basically saying it's coming and this is what it is and this is where it picks up from. And he mentioned, how in the comic books, it's not that, Ironheart is taking over where Tony Stark left off. It's basically Tony Stark in the comics was her like mentor to her, and she had a storyline that where he was her friend, he was her mentor, and he was helping her. And I think they picked some of that up in like Spider-Man, and that's what we kind of got some of that. But the real story in the comics is that Ironheart was that mentor, like that mentee, and now here we are, we're going to get her story. And so what I'm saying, the whole reason we're even bringing this up is that we need the culture to show up. And we've been seeing
how we showed up for Black Panther.
Yes. How we showed up for Sinners. Because this is the thing they did, like you mentioned a few minutes ago before the outage. I'm still like, all of it's coming back to me that, they were trying to dog out Sinners. Like they were trying to dog it out. And the numbers were undeniable. We have hit over 200 million, guys.
Yes. Domestic and international.
Yes. And that is as big as some of these, Marvel movies, DC movies. Like the numbers can't lie. And I'm so proud of Ryan Coogler. So we got to watch it. And this is the thing. If you don't, what I would do is what everybody else is doing is I would post pictures of it. If you see, an Ironheart, like post and say, by the way, it's coming out next month, guys, get ready. We need to tune in. If your subscription is not up to date on Disney Plus, then get ready to get it up to date before June 24th, because we have got to show up and show out.
Don't bootleg it. Don't anything. We need those numbers.
We need it. And we need it really, like, unfortunately we need it that first week that it comes out, because what I understand is
weeks are critical.
Yeah, they're going to do 3 episodes. Like when they release it on the 24th, you're going to get the first 3 episodes. So we need to watch it. And if you love it, watch it multiple times. Like,
exactly.
Like we got to do it. Because the reality is we want more of this. Like we will complain The
Yes,
culture.
want original stories, everything else, but yet some of these people who's doing the protest is saying we don't want these new characters that they're trying to push down our throats. And I'm like, but y'all were screaming y'all want original characters, but Ironheart is not original, but she's been around for over 8 years. So
Yeah.
it's not something that just came out like a
Yeah.
couple years ago.
And the reality is, if we don't accept these new characters, what we gonna do? Like, I mean,
Hmm.
Robert Downey Jr. can't keep coming back as new characters. Chris,
He's
Chris
gonna be a new
Evans,
character for every universe. And he's like, this
he's
is the multiverse.
yeah, this is a multiverse, so now I could be a whole new character because y'all want him to be 90 years old, be Stan Lee,
I
still
know.
popping up in
He gonna
movies
be
because y'all don't want no new characters. Like, I mean, we need new characters. Like, this is
He
the
gonna be our
thing,
Stan Lee a cameo for
right?
future Marvel films in this one.
Right. He gonna be cameoing, and that'd be fine. I'd love that. But I also want, like, this is, we went through this 10 years ago with the MCU. Like, we had
Yeah.
the original five, we had Hulk, we had, we had Iron Man, we had Captain America, we had
Mhm.
the originals. And
Yes.
then guess what? We, in the new, all the new stuff, we got Hawkeye, we got
Yes.
Loki, we got
Yes.
like we got Wanda, we started getting
Yes.
all these new characters and nobody was complaining. So
Yes.
now we've got to give a chance to the new characters that they're introducing
Yes.
because that's what's going to keep Marvel. I want to keep watching Marvel movies for the
Yes.
next 20 years. I don't want
And
it to stop just because, they want to go and win Oscars and stuff. Like,
exactly.
Robert
Which
Downey
is the
Jr.
part
deserved to
that
leave.
people gotta keep forgetting. Like Marvel has such decades and decades of characters out there, similar to DC, which DC has always refused to venture out. Marvel has been great about introducing these characters that have always
Hmm.
been fleshed out in their thing, that we, getting our Miles Morales, that a lot of us have
Yes.
known Miles has been around for years, but
Hmm.
he wasn't new, but he was new to the screen.
Yeah.
Uh, Finally getting Riri to the screen. Getting, I'm still
Miss Marvel
mourning
to the
is,
screen. Yeah.
yes, and then also, we had Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, who's been around, unfortunately, did not get renewed. Disney, I'm looking at you. Um, but it's like another good, series that they had. And she was also, for those that are not familiar, Moon Girl was also mentee brought under the wings of Tony also, along with
Right.
Riri, because it's actually been out and it's been proven. Moon Girl is smarter than all of them, including Shuri. And she got
What?
went to yes, she was schooled
I need to
by
read this.
all of them to learn to be this superhero, but also learn from them because I mean, she literally made a portal that brought a dinosaur to modern times, and it became her buddy.
Right.
Who's the
Oh,
devil
see,
dinosaur?
we need these new characters. Like, literally, we need these new characters. One
And
other
like
thing
I
that,
said,
oh, go ahead. I'm
go ahead.
sorry. No, I was going to
No,
change the subject. So go ahead.
no,
Finish
I was
your
just
thought.
saying, no, there's on all these comics, there's so many characters out there that's been around for decades, both DC, Marvel, and all of these. They just have to get the light of day. We can't keep having those
Yeah.
core ones that you've loved, that these other characters brought levels to them, help them
Yeah.
evolve. But until you introduce them, which I love
Hmm.
about Marvel, is slowly introducing all these characters, getting to know them, and we're getting these layers of these universes and
Yeah.
also these worlds that impact each other.
Right. And I mean, I look at it this way. If you're going to allow there to be, I don't know, was there 3 or 4, Fantastic Four movies back in the 90s, the 2000s, and now we're getting Fantastic Four again,
Yes,
and it's new and improved and it's like so promising. It's almost like you got to give it time for these characters to breathe, to grow. And
yes,
now it's kind of cool because if you watch Thunderbolts, you saw they're coming, and it was
yes,
like such a
yes,
cool, spoiler alert, but by now you
yes,
should have seen Thunderbolts.
yes.
It was such a cool
Yeah,
end
I've had a
credit
couple
scene.
weeks to see it,
End
so we're
credit, yeah.
outside of the
We
spoilers
are out,
area.
yeah, outside of this is like Sorry, not sorry. You should have
Yep.
watched it by now. But the other thing that kind of hit the news this week that was kind of shocking to me, and it was kind of disappointing. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when we got the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus, it was so good. Like so good. And I enjoyed that show more than I knew I ever could. Hawkeye was not one of my top 5 or even my top 10. I didn't not like the character. I love the character. I thought he had great moments in the, Marvel movies and all the different things when he'd pop up.
But you just didn't gravitate to him.
It wasn't until Hawkeye and it showed just the story of him and mourning, Scarlett Johansson and just his family. Like, we always knew he had a family unlike the others, and just all that other, and with him and Haley Steinfeld, which again, she is next level for me, but I loved her on that series. And so when she was next level on Sinners, it did not surprise me. I knew she had a lot in her. So anyways, the news hit where he was on an interview doing a podcast, and he mentioned that they wanted to do Hawkeye 2, but they offered him half of what he was making from the original Hawkeye series. And he literally had the best comeback for them. He was like, what? Just because I got hit by a snowplow, y'all think there's only half of me? Like, I'm still going to have to give up, a year of my life. I'm still going to have to give up, like, the physicality of all of this and just the role itself. And the reality is he's like kind of the anchor in that series. I mean, we got Haley and she was great, but it's like, we still need Hawkeye to kind of grow a little more. And I think it's smart to have him there, like for them to kind of be the team that they were. Yeah. And it was so shocking that they offered him half the salary.
That core aspect, like how much money they're giving. Robert Downey Jr., I give him credit. He really has evolved and became one with his character. Yeah. And the amount of money they've dropped into him, but you're not doing the same for the rest of the Avengers.
Right. Right. And we know they try to do Scarlett Johansson dirty because her movie came out during COVID and during the year that the theaters were more shut down, and it was like they had to revamp, but that wasn't her fault. It was a decent movie. It wasn't the best movie ever, but it gave us, Helena. It gave us some really good characters that are now the sinners of Thunderbolts. So it's like, and I just don't understand. But I get it. Like, for them, it's a business and they have they don't care. But it's still like one of those things where it's like, again, even these actors who we consider to be at least A-list in the Marvel world, they're A-list. Jeremy Renner's been doing this really good series on HBO. Like, he's not to be fooled with. He is an excellent, excellent actor. And for that to have come out and that to have happened to him, it doesn't give me comfort to go, wow, if they're doing it to him, no wonder they're doing it to everybody else. But it gives you pause. It makes you go, what the hell? Like, what you got to do to earn some respect in this situation? He's only been in 10, Marvel movies. He's only been in like the most, Endgame or Infinity War, excuse me. That was the most, it was Endgame. That was the saddest scene when we lost her. And he was just like, that was the saddest scene when we realized they got to give up a soul in order to get the soul stone. Exactly. And it was awful, and he handled it so well because in that moment I thought he was gone. I was like, they're not going to get rid of Scarlett Johansson. Like, there's no way. And sure enough, she was gone. But
it's one of those, especially when they know how Kevin has figured out this timeline of
Kevin Feige.
This character is going to be seen going forward. Why would you undermine them so much when they're going to have a presence in multiple things going forward? So it's very, and I know it's not just one person, there's a whole machine, but it's one of those, back to that. I really think entertainment world is like, if we can undercut who we can and make them none the wiser, we're going to do it. And we're going to use, exposure as payment. You're going to get exposure. You're having our name attached to
exposure has never paid the rent. Trust me, coming from the Power Rangers. I love my roots in acting, but honey, that exposure ain't never paid the rent. And it's like you guys recently, I'm sure I haven't seen it yet just because it's more personal to me as far as like the things, but the new documentary that's out about, Power Rangers and the dark side and all this other, but it just shows you, like, it's so funny. I haven't seen it, but so many people reached out to me and just was like, man, I did not realize, like when we said there was a hostile work environment, we meant that. There was a reason why the first 3 on my series left, and then we came in, and then there was a reason I left. There was a reason David left. There was a reason Steve left. Like everybody was leaving because of what the work conditions we were under. And it just shows you the dark side of Hollywood. Like it's just, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter. The dark side of Hollywood always, rears its ugly head. And what I will say, this is not Marvel making these decisions. As you know, Disney owns Marvel. And so they're the ones cutting the checks. They're the ones, when they do their budgets, they're the ones who allocate the funds, and they're the ones who say, we're offering you this and we're offering you that and blah, 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 blah. So shame on you, Disney. Give Jeremy Renner his money. I was like, run that man his money and let us have season 2.
The contact that's still with him, y'all going to have to fire them or retrain them because
well, he didn't accept it. His agent put their foot down. They did right by him and said, oh no, you're not getting him for this. Like you need to pay him his money. But it's insanity. But going back to some cool stuff that we want to talk about, and hopefully these generators last. I was at 100% with one and 70% for the other, so we should be good to go. This is the most hilarious episode we've ever taped. Thunderbolts came out. Thunderbolts came out, and I really wanted Hilton to be here to talk about this because he was online, he was revved up, he was activated by Thunderbolts, and I don't blame him. Like, this is the crazy part. It's like people will complain, and they were like, we need, I'm tired of all these action films and this bang, bang, and it's explosive, special effect, but there's no story. Thunderbolts gives you the story. It gives you all the feels. It gives you all the chills. It's going to give you, like, it's like, it made these people human. And those are the things that I loved. Like, I love that about Endgame. You saw the grief in all these people. You saw the anger in all these people. I loved it in the Spider-Man movie that we had where we got all 3 Spider-Mans, and, it showed, Peter Parker's grief. It showed a huge tragedy. Like I said, that was the movie that Peter Parker became a man. He was no longer a kid, and Thunderbolts does the same. It does the same. Like, you cannot possibly be a bad guy and be like, there are whole series and whole movies that have been surrounded by these characters, the Thunderbolts characters, and they've done terrible things. I mean, we found out that Bucky killed, it killed, Tony Stark's mom and dad. And not only was he like just wrecking shop and doing crazy things, but when he was under, the spell, when he was under, what was it? When he was, a bad guy. And couldn't control himself. He killed their parents. Like, he even killed the friendship between Iron Man and Captain America. And when, Chris Evans' character, when he stood up for his friend from childhood, I mean, they're 100 years old. This is someone he's known forever. And terrible things happened to both of them in the beginning of, them trying to make a superhuman, superhero. It gave you that. But Thunderbolts does the same. There is no way you can go from being a bad guy to then realizing all of your wrongs to then just jumping in and just instantly becoming a hero. No, they had to go through some terrible things. And it's almost like a lesson in mental health. Like, I think there were some lines where they said, if you don't deal with these things, because in the very beginning, Florence Pugh, Black Widow, she tells, the Void, who we will know as the Void, Bob. He's Bob, but before he becomes the Void, she tells him, he asked her, he says, how do you deal with all those emotions? How do you deal with all that pain and that hurt? And how do you do it? She said, you stuff it down. You just put it, you just ignore it and you stuff it down. But you see how her life was. She was just on the brink of self-destruction. She was obviously depressed. She was drinking her life away, like all these things that we do in real life. And she realizes quickly that you can't stuff it down, you know? And it's weird because Alexi, who's played by David Harbour, who was her, like, he's the best, right? He was the best comic relief in this movie. So it's heavy, but he saves it.
The
like
way he drove around in that desert.
But the funny thing was, he was her father when you meet her in when you met her in the first movie, and he was a terrible father. He was terrible. He was just the worst. He was like the worst excuse of someone who could become a father. But here he was too, lonely and sad and like all the things. He was a hero in his country, and now he's nothing. And that was terrible for him. But he shows her that even the people you don't think will show up for you, he shows up for her. Yes. And that changed her heart, changed her mind. And she quickly realized that she needs to do that for Sentry, which we know as the Void. And that was the Void was so freaking scary to me.
But it was so real. Like for me, when I watched it, like with all of them, you kind of got the breaking down, like, like you said, for Florence character, you end up understanding she was like Black Widow, getting put into as a child against her will, going through these crazy things, and you got to really see perspectives of it in this movie.
Yeah, what their training was.
Yes.
And how haunting it was. Ugh.
Exactly. And then with Dimitri, you find out like he was also experimented on like Captain America for his country, because that was what he was trying to bond with. He was like, I'm like you.
Right.
But like you said, he was his hero. Like you literally saw a scene. He's watching old videos of people cheering for him, and he's sitting in his home just in his own head. Yeah. And then you find out like the typical break between their relationship, because she's like, you haven't called me or checked on me for over a year.
Yeah. After losing her sister.
Yeah. The stuff with my sister, everything. And I'm not okay. But it took through the movie for her to be able to really voice that. And then you're starting to see from these other characters, which was amazing with the Void, it really broke down about that mental health and our own battles, because the Void allowed us to peek into the darkest places for each of these anti-heroes.
Yeah.
From like they called him what was it? I can't remember what they were calling.
Which one?
Captain America.
Oh, you mean U.S. Agent, where he was? Yeah, they were calling him like the wannabe.
America. They were calling him,
like it was something I forget too. Yeah, because he wasn't like, and they brought that up, like where he was like, we saw it in if you watched what is it? God, see, it's
Falcon
like when you
and the Winter Soldier.
Yes, Falcon and the Winter Soldier series again on Disney Plus, which is really good. You gotta watch it
if you haven't seen it. That fight scene with him with the Dora Milaje.
Yes. Well, they it's so good. But they showed, because like they, obviously, what's his name, who is now Captain America, Anthony Mackie's character did not want to. He just didn't feel right taking it on. He didn't feel right being Cap. Like that was his friend, and he lost his friend.
Put onto his hands, and that was it. No prep, no.
And so, of course, the U.S. government, they trick him and say, hey, give us the shield, give us the stuff, the costume, and we'll just put it in the museum. Well, sure enough, lo and behold, that was not going to happen. They gave it to Wyatt Russell, who I did not know is Goldie Hawn and Russell. That's their son. Like, I'm like, what? Anyways, he comes in.
The only celebrity son that's in there. Even Mr. Void Bob is also a celebrity son, too.
Louis Pullman, he's somebody's son?
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm going to Google that in a minute, because I got to know. Anyways, they give it to the U.S. agent, and he is going to be the ideal, Captain America. And of course he's terrible. And he's, he's still got PTSD from being in the war. Although he looks good on paper, he doesn't have the heart. And that's what Chris Evans told Anthony Mackie at the end. He's got the right heart to be Captain America. And so needless to say, in Thunderbolts, you see the aftermath of how, him killing someone live on TV in just a fit of rage and not being able to control his emotions and all these things. You see what it cost him. It cost him his family. It cost him honor. He's now like, even though he has a super serum, he is like, he doesn't even believe in himself. He's like, he believes he's unworthy. But it's such a good show. Like you said, these anti-heroes go from, it wasn't a matter of whether they had the skills or not the skills. It's a matter of who has the heart.
Yes. And who gave them the chance to step up, because they kept being put in this box. Yeah. And the fact that they kept playing the games with them to make them think they're doing what's best for the country when they're doing this dirty work. Yeah. And of course, Louis Pullman, to give you an idea, that is Bill Pullman's son.
Oh, yeah. See, I mean, but that's kind of cool. Like, what's funny is that I was kind of laughing because he is in, what is the movie? It's every time I need to think of something, Tom Cruise's movie, his original, like in the airplanes. He's like, it's one of my favorite movies. And they had a new version of it come out last year or the year before. Gosh, you know what it is. Doggone it. I'm going to tell you right now, because I'm pulling up his IMDb. Top Gun. He's in Top Gun. Okay, yeah. And his name in Top Gun is Bob. Yeah. I was like, he can't escape that character name. Like in Top Gun, they make the joke because, like, in Top Gun, they all have, a nickname, and it's like Maverick and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And they were like, well, what's your handle? What's your call name? And he goes, Bob. He's just like, they were like, no, what's your handle? And he's like, it's just Bob. Like he wasn't cool enough to get a call name. But he ends up being like one of the top guns that goes into the mission. And he's a really good actor. So when I saw him in this, I was excited that he was going to be in Thunderbolts, but had no idea that he was a celebrity son. Which doesn't surprise me.
Celebrity kids in this.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, they are excellent at acting, and of course, they can handle this.
But like between tying in, Bucky and all the other characters, and it was like you said, it tied into reality that we can relate, because there's always this misconceived notion that superheroes got to be these perfect characters.
Yes.
And Marvel really changed the script on that, of letting people know. And a lot of people with this movie similar to Ironheart, did not realize this was a comic book series before this even became a movie. And it's just one of these that it's like, hey, no matter how life treats you, you can become these heroes.
Yeah.
They fell into becoming heroes. Right. It was not intentional.
The Avengers were not coming to save the world. They say that in the movie. The Avengers are not coming. Exactly.
And it was just like, it really let us see, like, for the fact, like, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like, her evolution with the Marvel series, like us knowing her from Seinfeld, being kind of this goofy kind of character, but then having this very strategic,
elegant, but like a monster. Like she was really the villain in all this.
He is like the true politician. He kept that politics, especially that scene. Like she knew she screwed up. They wanted to beat her into the pavement, but she strategically came through, had that press, was like, look what I did, I saved everybody. And the way they looked at her was like,
I know,
we own you now.
The funny thing about that was that it's so funny, but what was her name? It is I love her name, Valentina Allegra. If that is not a name of a
Valentina Allegra de Fonte, because she kept saying you have to say the duh
Yeah, yeah.
Fontaine.
But if that is not a bad like superhero villain name, I don't know what is. But what
Because
show
if you
what I
ever say the
love,
whole name, she's a
right?
villain.
Defontaine. Yeah. What was funny about her was that she was always a step ahead.
Yes.
Even in like you said, right when we think the movie is over and they finally won, they figured it out, they see her and they're gonna go after her. They're like, oh, we're about to get her, and they walk through the screen or they walk through the curtain, and because she like leads them into a curtain, they walk past the curtain, and then there's all the press, and
Yes.
she gives them what they want. They wanted a hero's welcome. She
Yes.
gives them what they want. She names them the new Avengers, but again, she's still like she's calculating and she's up to something.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that line where um Black Widow, Yelena goes up to her and goes, "Now we own you," and it's like,
Exactly.
oh.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what the biggest thing that I loved about this movie is, like you said, they're anti-heroes. They've gone through so much, the
Yeah.
mental trauma. A real life person, if they were given the strength to be a hero and they were given the ability to do that, that's a heavy mantle to carry. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost like they weren't just given the good guy and the hero's welcome; they had to earn it.
Yes.
And by earning it, they healed. And they had, it was one of those things that was I mean, it's like you said, it's real life.
Yes.
Like, you don't really learn lessons in life on the
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. That's like a celebration. You learn it
Yes.
through the bad stuff, like going
Yes.
through the storm. You realize
Yes.
after the storm, there's the rainbow,
Yes.
And so seeing it in this story, I thought it was excellent. And those
Yes.
who didn't like it, like I've heard people that I love, like people that I know watch superhero movies just as much as I do. They were kind of like, oh, I didn't like it. This is too deep. This is too, and I'm
Yeah.
like, guys, we've been complaining for
Yes. That
years
y'all
that these
don't want
characters,
your
yeah,
superhero fatigue,
yeah.
but y'all got
We want
the new
multi-dimensional
superhero.
characters. Yeah. And here we got them. And now
Yes.
you're like, it's too sad. And I was like, is it
Yes.
because it's hitting
Double-edged
home?
sword.
Yeah. It's like, is it because it's hitting home? And that's how I mean, life is
Like I said,
real.
hit dogs bark hard louder.
Yeah. And so I enjoyed Thunderbolts.
Yes.
I enjoyed it so
Yes.
much because they've earned it. And now I want to see what they do.
Yeah.
Like now I want to see what happens in,
Yes.
Doctor Doom and
Yes.
what's about
And
to happen.
especially with Bob, because I love
Yes.
because we always see these scenarios online and with people like, what superpower, what would you have? You
Mm-hmm.
had a regular person that gained tremendous superpowers
Mm-hmm.
and ended up being Valentina. I love the fact that she was trying to hype him up because her assistant was like, he's got depression. I don't know if this
Yeah.
is going to be a good idea. But she hyped him up. And as soon as she got him to where he was, when she tried to take him down, she was like, no, how is a human going to tell me? She's like, no, 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 you're not a god. No, you
Yeah.
said I'm stronger than all the Avengers together, and that include one god. So
Yeah.
I am a god level. So it showed like the mentality a regular person can go if they get empowered that quickly
Yeah.
his powers, but then the battle of this, like you said, of the depression and
Right.
of this
The
dark
trauma.
side,
Yeah.
and was another part because they had to really battle that dark side
Yeah.
um, for him because it was just like it wasn't that him, but it's kind of like what depression is.
Yeah.
Also, the people around you get affected
Mm-hmm.
by how you become when you're in these depressive states.
Yeah.
And then the symbolisms basically of him finding this safe place
Yeah.
in this alternate universe, basically,
Mm-hmm.
the place in the void that he's like, this is the safest place, which you tend
Right.
to go into when you're in that kind of mindset. But
Mm-hmm.
then you're hearing all the stuff that has happened. So he's hearing those traumatic things which happen
Yeah.
from depression that you play all this stuff in your head.
Right.
And it's one of those that it's just like, okay, it brought reality to it. It's
Mm-hmm.
similar to the the same thing that Stan Lee brought up that when he talked about Spider-Man and
Mm-hmm.
how it was rejected from coming to the forefront. They
Yeah.
literally told him like teenagers are not supposed to be superheroes. They're supposed to be sidekicks.
Right.
and they're not supposed to have problems like we are. They're supposed to be perfect.
Yeah.
And until he took that initiative to get it brought to the forefront, we would have never had a super Spider-Man.
Right.
But
When you think about it,
Spider-Man,
teenagers have the most, like, we're like, that was probably one of the hardest times in my life when I
yes,
was figuring out who I was. I was
hmm
figuring out my worth. I was
yes,
figuring out, like, because you're so caught, like, you go almost from an innocent child, where the world hasn't
and
hardened you
forcing
yet.
it to adulthood.
And then you go into middle school and high school where everybody's talking like they're just, like, at least
Yeah,
that's how my life was.
yes,
And I was like, what is this?
and
Like,
these
where
clicks and everything you
you
don't
don't fit
have.
in.
Yeah,
You realize you're not the cool kid. It's like, it's really weird. And I mean, you think about it, that's where a lot of people, their depression and anxiety show
yes,
its ugly head.
exactly.
And it's deep because I've obviously had people who have suffered from depression, people who
Hmm.
have committed suicide, people who have, horrific things have happened, or they've
Yes,
had horrific trauma in their life. And as adults, it comes up,
yes,
and it's one of those things where they could hide it for only so long. And then
yes,
it comes up, when you're an adult and you've got all these pressures of life and just, it's life is hard. Like, life
yes,
is hard. I don't care who you are.
yes.
And the
Life be
trick
life.
is, yeah. And the trick is, how do you react to these setbacks? And because the reality is
Yes.
we're learning how to deal with things. It's not like you just all of a sudden
Hmm.
you just arrive,
Yes.
and
There's no
but it's
handbook.
always, yeah, there's no handbook and there's no like right way or wrong way to do it, because what works for one person will not work for the next person. Like, it's just
Exactly.
different. Like, we're all wired differently. But what it is, it's a constant battle of the light and the dark. And
Hmm.
some people learn quickly how to deal with life and how to adjust to life. And it doesn't mean they got it perfect. It just means that they are doing okay with responding to it. Right.
Yes.
And that's where I feel like I am. You are, like, that's kind of where we are. Right. We've just figured out how to deal with it and how to react to it and how to cope with it. And everybody has ways of doing that. Right. And this is what
Hmm.
this movie shows. But then there's also that person. And you think about it, the Void Sentry, he literally was an experiment.
Yes.
He was an experiment
That
gone
they
wrong.
tried to throw away.
Yeah, that they literally thought went wrong. They thought they had all died, and they thought they threw him away. And here he is. He's the lone survivor. And even, Valentina's like, what the hell? Who is that? Like, she's even shocked, like shocked. But it was like her evilness was like, she was shocked for 1 minute.
Yes.
But when she knew what he could possess and what he could do, she didn't care who it was. She didn't care what baggage he had. She didn't care about the trauma. She was like, oh, I'm going to use this. And this is finally going to be where I can control the world. And I'm going to control
Hmm.
it through him. And like you said, he realized real quickly, like, girl, you ain't nobody. How are you controlling me? How are you telling me what to do, how to look, how are you doing that when I'm the one who's the God? I'm the one who has all the power.
Yes.
But it was such a good lesson on how they figured out as a team, how they had to face it. They literally had to go through the void
Yes.
to end it, to help him and to
Hmm.
save themselves and to save him.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to see where this goes, because
Yes.
the movie ends and he's like not trying to, he's over there sitting in the corner reading,
Yes.
like he's over there trying to like live his
Drinking
most
his
peaceful
his
life.
little frappuccino and everything, which is part of the credits. There's 2 scenes you have to sit
Yes.
for. 2 scenes.
Literally, the whole theater left, and I was telling people as they're walking, I go, guys,
Like,
there's a
you are
second
not a
end
Marvel
credit
fan.
scene.
You
There's
don't move until the lights come up.
yes, and the funny thing was the lights were up, and I was like, no, there's another one. It's coming
Yes.
at the end,
And
and
they
me and
warned everybody. They said there's two
yes,
scene credits in
yes.
the in that, but
Yeah. And the second scene is the longest end credit scene in history that was ever
yes,
filmed. So it was very, very good. But
yes,
you gotta
Thunderbolts
go
with a
watch
Z.
Thunderbolts. You gotta go watch it. Like, it
Thunderbolts
is
with a
just
Z. We gotta get those tracksuits.
yes. Oh my God. I can't wait to see people cosplaying that at cons.
We've already talked about. We got to see in Atlanta. They did a fan screening the Thursday before
Yeah,
they did a big with MCU here, and they were talking about that they should get Thunderbolts, and the person that coordinates the MCU Atlanta ATL events, his
yes.
is a Bob on the front, and everybody else has Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
He'll be Bob.
I'm telling you right now, David Harbour. I mean, I'm a fan of his since I got to know him through Stranger Things. And honey,
Yeah.
I am the self-proclaimed Stranger Things biggest fan ever. Even though I know they're probably bigger fans than me, but in my mind and in my world, I eat, sleep, and breathe Stranger Things. Like we were in London at last October, and I told Christy, I was like, we're gonna go see the Stranger Things play, and she was like, what? And it wasn't until we were going there, she's like, there's an actual like West End Broadway play, and I go,
Yeah.
yes. And she goes, I've never even heard of this, and I go, and like tons of people had never even heard of it. And I go, no,
Yeah.
it's
I remember as
it's on
soon
the
as they
West
announced
End.
it, you shared it with us
Yeah.
with in our chat, and I was just like,
Yes.
oh, I know as soon as Karen has the opportunity, she is going to be there.
I was there, honey. I went and saw it, and I saw like the original cast, which they have come, like a lot of them. The main guy who plays, Victor Creel, not Victor Creel. He plays, I can't think of it. The bad boy who turns into Vecna. Like anytime I need to think of a name on the spot, it ain't happening. I don't know what is wrong with my brain. It's like I need to go get checked out, but it ain't coming to me. Anyways, he is Henry Creel. So they brought it to America. Now it's on Broadway. So if you get the chance, it is on Broadway currently. The special effects, they said, have even been upped since the West End premiere. So I have to go see it again just because I need to see what's changed. But it's literally on Broadway as we speak. It's winning awards. It's been nominated for a million Tonys. So you got to go see it. But yeah, guess what, Dana? We're at the end of the show. We finished. And I don't think my power is on. It's still not on
to make it through.
Yes. 2 outages, 3 tries. We're here. We finished. But my it's not on. It's still not on. If we wouldn't have plugged in those generators, like literally we are in I think 40-minute now of outage. 30 at least 30-minute outage. This is the second one we've had today, a third one we've had today. But oh my gosh, we did it. We lost Hilton in the process. Hilton was supposed to be recording with us today, but because we literally started 2 hours later waiting for my problems. And I don't know what's happening. Like I heard some sirens earlier.
Came from behind the curtain. Oz came from behind the curtains again. Because the last time I came to the forefront is when Karen had to bring me up to settle an argument between Karen, Hilton, and Christy about our homework assignments.
Yes. Christy had not done her homework. Hilton had not done. Nobody did their homework. And I'm like, why am I doing this? And so I embarrassed them live. And I brought our Wizard of Oz, the Wiz. I brought her from behind the curtain to co-sign the importance of homework. Because we can't review a show if nobody's watched the show.
Exactly.
We can't there's certain parameters that we've got to adhere to when we do the BOP, since we are, part of the show is us reviewing things and talking about how much we like it. But so what I will say
today, because I, of course, even though I'm not on the forefront, I have typically watched or anything whenever Karen gives these assignments.
Yeah, she does homework.
I stay ahead of stuff too, because of whatever hits here in Atlanta, where I live. And so when Karen was I was like, all right, bet. I'm like excited for the conversation. Of course, when this happened, I was like, Karen, I got you.
Yeah. And she literally decided to do it 10 minutes before we were so guys, she didn't even get to prepare. That is the genius of Miss Dana Morgan. She did not even get to prepare. She was like, oh, I could. She goes, well, if he doesn't show up, I can talk about it. I was like, girl, the gig is yours. The gig is yours. So she didn't even know what we were talking about other than Thunderbolts. That's all she heard. And then I told her right before we press record, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk. And I'm one of those, like, as the conversation goes, if it sparks something else, I'll just throw it in there and see how we respond. So a lot of times we talk about things that we haven't prepared for, but it's appropriate for the conversation, like to add to. So Dana, thank you. I say all of that to say thank you. And guys, we're on a countdown to Ranger Stop and Pop. It's the final year.
Get your ticket.
Dana has been receiving all of the deliveries. If I've never publicly thanked you. Did the backdrop get there?
He has ordered that's supposed to arrive on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
She said, so I got to wait for that.
Did you get the backdrop on Monday that I was telling you
Yes,
about?
it did come in on Monday.
Is it like
so,
a big,
yeah.
huge box?
I believe, let's see, because there was a couple things that came in. So
Okay.
I was like, I know one of these is
Right.
I'm gonna
We gotta
open
open
the storage.
we got to open it and check because that's
Yes.
like, oh. But
Yes.
guys, basically we're planning the show of a lifetime. We
Yes.
literally have over 60 Power Rangers and villains that are coming to Atlanta. It is going to be large and in charge. I'm so excited for this year's show. And we're probably producing things and doing things we've never done. It's like almost like all our dreams are coming true. Like I said, we finally get to do it.
VIP passes because you get access to a VIP dinner. It's going to be next level experience. If you ever wanted to spend extra time outside of meeting guests at their booth, this is it. Because those that have the VIP badges, they get to go to this dinner, and it's the guests and the fellow VIPs that are enjoying a nice dinner. They have games that can win prizes, and even
we party.
Have, the DJ tear up the floor.
Yes.
And we know that between I call my top two is Rory, Travis, and Walter Jones. If they are guests, they are on that dance floor at the beginning.
And they are both guests this year, so it's going to be out of this world.
It's going to be a dance off between those two.
Yes. I think they've danced off together, and then they just started dancing together because it was undeniable that they both are at top of their game. But guys, so June 13th through the 15th, come hang with us, play with us. It's going to be amazing. We can't wait to see you. But we thank you for watching the BOP, the Blurred official podcast, and spending time with me and Dana through the power outages. I mean, gosh, you guys deserve a medal. We'll see you next time. We love you. We mean it. Bye.
Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode of the BOP, the Blurred Official Podcast.